Good afternoon and happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. It's so weird. I've honestly, I told you guys, I think yesterday, how Monday I completely felt like it was missing because I was gone and then, I didn't make dinner and, the day was, I didn't get, any work done outside or anything like that. So, Monday didn't even feel like a Monday to me. And so, I felt like it was earlier in the week yesterday, and then today, I felt like it was, Friday or, Thursday or something like that, and it's only Wednesday, guys. But I got so much more yard work done today, guys. I am so tired and so sore. It is actually only, not even 10:30 yet, and, at 10 o'clock, I was almost falling asleep. We actually, we went to the movies and stuff like that. I'll tell you guys about that, but yard work for today, guys, I would show you, except for I realized that I should have done it earlier because after we got back from the movies, it was already dark out. So I told you guys how yesterday we went to Walmart and we got some clearance plants for our flower bed, and it cost, it was less than $60 because we spent $60 plus we got some other stuff that wasn't flowers. So we got those and a few, which were all perennials, and we got a few annuals to go in the flower box, I think 3, 4 maybe, something like that. And then we also ended up getting a whole bunch of annuals, and on top of that there's a couple that we're gonna move around. There's a handful of lilies that are in our backyard, just randomly. They were next to the tree that was in our backyard that fell over, and they must have just popped up through the weeds and have kept growing. So we're gonna actually move those into the flower bed and let them do their thing there, instead of just randomly being out in the middle of our yard, because now it's not completely in the middle of our yard, but the back part of our yard, they just look really awkward there because there's nothing else there. There used to be a tree and they were at the bottom, around the tree, and now that there's no tree there, they just look like they're sitting out in the middle of nowhere. So we're gonna move those actually into the flower beds. And then too, there was in the flower bed by the front yard, by our front door where all of our other lilies are, there is a Live Forever in there, and so I'm going to move that into the flower bed as well because it's kind of getting crowded out by all the lilies that are there. And so I'm going to move that one into the new flower bed that I just got done, and then also split another one that's in the front flower bed because they're already growing like crazy, guys. They're thriving there. They're doing so well. So the ones that I had just kind of transplanted and moved around in that from that flower bed already, because there was little patches of them. We put them kind of all in the same area now. And so I'm going to actually split those and move them to the backyard flower bed. So that has got, they're obviously, since they were just in plants and stuff like that, not nearly as mature as the ones that are all in our other flower beds that we did, over a month ago, or yeah, 2 months ago now. Those ones are all really doing well and thriving and stuff like that, and these ones will be, there for probably about 2 more months, and then it's gonna get cold and be winter out. So or late spring, I guess, but they probably won't last much longer than, I'm really gonna say October. Then it's gonna start to kind of fade out and everything like that, because sometimes by November we'll get snow. Sometimes even possibly October we've gotten frost and stuff like that, but by that point they should all pretty much just be maybe in hibernation mode, which is how I'm going to be at the end of this summer. Because honestly though, guys, I feel like I'm really going to miss it because I've just got so much done out there, and it has been not relaxing, but just it's something that keeps me motivating, keeps me going, because then I look at the flower bed, every single time I'm outside, and I'm like, I did this, and everything that's out there is just so beautiful and so pretty and, well maintained and stuff like that, and that's just, hard work, and it's something that you actually get to see afterwards. I feel like I get frustrated sometimes, cleaning the house or something like that, because it's wow, I cleaned, this whole area or reorganized it, and then within a handful of days it's already a mess again, and I'm great, because it feels there's 4 other people that live in the house along with me, like nobody really takes the time to like actually take care of stuff or like put it away. Or like if I organize something like the laundry room shelves or something like that, then people are just like, oh, just throw it in here. And I'm honestly guilty of that sometimes too. I'll be like, oh, I don't feel like actually putting that where it belongs, I'll just throw it in this cabinet or something like that. But when you have 4 other people that also tend to do that, then you know your hard work very quickly diminishes. And so like outside, as long as I keep going with the weeding and stuff like that, which I did today as well, you know, all that kind of stuff, just I stay on top of it, and it rewards me with beautiful flowers. So and I'm constantly rewarded with those, instead of, you know, going back and looking at the laundry room shelf and being like, this is unorganized again. I gotta reorganize it all over again. You know, so anyways, though, I did also too this morning, I went through all of the flower beds. Before I went to the back bed, I went to all the flower beds and weeded them all out, which there was barely anything that I really needed to weed. Most of them were pretty good, but there were like some pieces of tall grass, or you know, like the crabgrass growing in there, or little what's it called, like little sticker bushes, like dandelion kind of stuff in there, and just little other things. I also trimmed a little bit of our bush that's like on the side of our house, because I realized that there were some shoots growing up just randomly from the back of the, like, they were growing up out of the ground. So I was like, okay, these don't belong here. I'm trying to keep our bush small and let the hostas take over that area, and they decided they wanted to come up, so I trimmed all those down, you know, and just went over a lot of that stuff. And you know, anything else that really needed to be taken care of. And then also too, like some of the beds, like the front bed with the lilies in it, and the rose bush, there was a handful of things that I must have missed in there, and just kind of didn't see. And now that I moved a lot of this stuff around, I could see some of the stuff that was in there, so I just pulled a few things out of there. And then I went to the back bed today, and like I told you guys, I planted all that stuff, but I also dug out a huge, not ridiculously huge, but I dug out a pretty deep, like pretty good size. I would say it was probably maybe about a foot wide or something like that, of a what's it called, a tree stump that was growing back there. This one was probably, I will say, the worst one, other than our actual big trees that still have stumps left in them. But this one was coming back consistently, and so it was like just one of those trees that got lost in the mess of weeds, and we never saw it, and it grew, and then we trimmed it, and then it, you know, would come up in another spot, and we trimmed it, and it kept coming up. It was ridiculously large. Like I said, probably one of the biggest ones. And I completely dug down as far as I possibly could, and then cut all of the roots out, and then pulled the thing out, and then filled in the hole, and then put the plants in over it. So it's not coming back, guys. It's really one of the most, like, I don't want to say difficult, but like the most, you know, muscle that I possibly had to put into it, because doing the weeding and stuff like that and just pulling that kind of stuff up pretty easy. But this, I mean, I was like down in there on my hands and knees. I was sweating. I was covered in mud and filth and grime and dirt, and you know, just trying to dig this thing out and trying to pull what I could and twist it and bend it, and trying to then get the roots exposed so I could find them and cut them out and stuff like that. And oh my gosh, guys, it was a huge headache. But it got done, and hopefully now that it's a flower bed again and I will be maintaining it, there shouldn't be anything that is coming up in there again. Because I have found a handful of other like maple trees and stuff like that. They've tried to start growing in the beds and stuff like that. I think it's just like from birds and stuff like that. They're leaving their the seed droppings in our flower beds or stuff like that. And I found a couple of them, but they're super small when I find them, luckily. You can just pull them out, instead of having to wait until they get super large and then having to dig them out. So this was like one of those where it wasn't supposed to be there, and nobody knew how it really got there. But that was the bed yesterday. We fixed all of the rocks, and so now that bed is completely done. I wanted to take care of tomorrow the front flower bed and the one next to our front door, and actually dig up all those rocks and move some of the lilies that are in there around, because there's still some that are kind of encroaching on some of this space, but there's kind of like dead space in that bed. So what I wanted to do was dig up a handful of the lilies, around where there's, again, some of those trees that I also need to get out, because we have a real bad problem with trees popping up in our flower beds. And so I need to dig a couple stumps that are in there out, and when I do that, and move the lilies out so I don't smush them in the process or dig them up and hurt them in the process, so I want to safely dig them up, move them, set them off to the side, dig up these, you know, trees, and then plant the lilies back in there. Like I said too, some of them are still encroaching on what would be the edge of the flower bed, or they're over the flower bed and I need to move them back in, but they're like dead spaces kind of in that bed, so I want to move them in there. And they take over crazy, so I have no problem with, you know, or there shouldn't be any problem with them, you know, retaking that whole bed. It's just a matter of having to get in there and do that kind of stuff. So that was what I want to do tomorrow. And Matthew is going to the county fair tomorrow, which he was supposed to go to today, but because of the movie and all kinds of other stuff, he ended up not, and he just went to a different place and went and caught Pokemon with his girlfriend today. So he wasn't here today, which is why I went ahead and did the stuff I could do by myself today, and I was hoping that I have some help doing this tomorrow, where he can dig up maybe some of those tree stumps that are in there. Those are all real small, guys, and shouldn't be that difficult to do. Much smaller than what I was dealing with today. But, you know, having him help with that, and then also digging up the rocks and replacing them, because he does a really good job with that. I don't have patience to do that. I am kind of like a wrecking machine and just want to get in there and try and dig everything out. But he's like really patient about putting the rocks and making them look pretty. Yes, I'm talking about you, Matthew. Yeah, but he's not going to be here tomorrow, so I'm going to have to figure out something else that I can do, which I think I'm just going to try and finish somewhat part of the back behind the garage tomorrow with Jack's help, and then also to moving the couple plants, the lilies that I didn't get into the bed today, and also those live forevers, which I'll probably do first thing in the morning, and then have Jack wake Jack up because he doesn't get up very early and get him to help me with behind the garage. So it's supposed to actually rain tonight and possibly into tomorrow morning, but if it's not too bad or too muddy, then I am going to get to work. If it is and or is raining in the morning, then I guess it's just I don't get to any gardening tomorrow, with the exception of if it's not too bad and too muddy, I just might try and get the stuffed trees planted. Other than that, if it is still pretty bad, I probably won't get to the weeding, because my gym shoes are just horrible with mud and stuff like that, because I use just my gym shoes when I'm out there. They get all the dirt stuck up inside of them and the mud and stuff like that, and on top of that too, my leather gloves in the mud are not not a very good match. So yeah, we'll see what we can get to though tomorrow. But we did go and see today, guys. We ended up going out for dinner, actually, which I didn't cook tonight, and then we ended up going to see Incredibles 2, guys, which I just have to say, I was skeptical because it's been so long, and I was like, I really hope they do this right, and I felt like the second Finding Nemo, not as great. You know, Finding Dory wasn't as great. It wasn't my favorite. I love Finding Nemo, and I just felt like, I don't know, it was good, but it didn't do it like, I felt like it wasn't as great as I was expecting it to be. The Incredibles 2, though, honestly, guys, completely lived up to my expectations, like what I wanted it to be. It was really, really a good movie, and I feel like it wasn't like that typical, like, sequel, like, oh, it was pretty good. Like, I honestly felt like it was as good as the original. I can't say it was better than the original, because I feel like nothing can be, but it was really, really good. It wasn't like, you know, like a weird story or anything like that. I felt like it kind of actually captured a lot of what I wanted the second one to actually do, and I felt like it was really good. So I think I give it that one a thumbs up, guys, because it was a very good movie. But we saw that one, and then I think this weekend we're gonna go see the Jurassic World, and then next weekend I think we're gonna see Ant-Man and Wasp. But for some reason, the Jurassic World and the Incredibles 2 were not playing at our movie theater, so we went out of our way to go see the other one, and we went to the place that we went to eat on the 3rd of July, which was the parade day, and we went there, and so their food was like amazing, which was this like Tex-Mex place. So we went there and then went to go see the movie at this other movie theater. So anyways, though, guys, I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give it a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.